Let's get you more detail in terms of what's happening in Nasrec, where the ANC's NEC is currently meeting. It's expected to receive a report from its Integrity Commission on the Phala Phala farm scandal. That's where we find Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda Ngcobo to give us a sense of what more we know at this hour. Ziyanda.
Well, we've just had a short briefing from ANC National Spokesperson Phala on the order of proceedings today. So they're going to start off by getting an opening address from President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is one of those leading this meeting. Then there'll be a presentation on the an organizational report, which we know will be done by Deputy President David Mabuza as a result of having a suspended Secretary General, as well as the passing of Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte. It's only after lunch then will the outstanding Integrity Committee reports be processed, including the one looking into Palapala and as well as the one looking into digital vibes. Now, we know that according to a draft document for both these matters, for an example, Dr. Zweli Mkhize was asked to step aside in that draft document, so the final one will be presented. But also with the Palapala matter, the President appeared twice before the Integrity Commission and could not give much information or respond to the questions that the commissioners had posed towards him because he cited a gag order. However, the difference between early November, when the draft document was leaked, and now is that Section 89 panel report was released, which of course made adverse findings against the President. Critical to note that, the NEC could either choose to follow the recommendations of the Integrity Commission or act like it has previously and ignored the decisions of the Integrity Commission, kick the can further down the road and wait until, the matter goes to conference before processing the Integrity Commission reports and having new NEC deliberate on these issues, because what would happen with Phala Phala is likely to have a similar implication on the digital vibes scandal.
And that's two reports that heavily and directly impact the candidates for the top job of the ANC. Definitely. So, what would happen is that if, for an example, the Integrity Commission makes adverse findings against the President and, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, it could lead to an immediate disqualification on the ballot. So you'd have two presidential candidates being disqualified literally on the eve of conference. So this meeting is going to be very critical in terms of how these discussions take place, against the backdrop as well, Dudu, of someone like Dr. Zweli Mkhize, who's reportedly said that Gwede Mantashe ran Monday's meeting like a dictator. He didn't allow for others to give their views in the discussions around what should happen with President Cyril Ramaphosa, because we know that step aside applies to the organization, but it doesn't necessarily, there's no constitutional, space, so to speak, or leeway for someone to step aside from government. So it would mean that the President would have to resign. And so this would have serious implications on the governance of the country. The other layer to this is the fact that next week the MPs have been given marching orders to reject then the adoption of that Section 89 panel report following Monday's NEC meeting. And, what the Integrity Commission says could, resuscitate or bring about fresh debates on what should happen to President Cyril Ramaphosa in light of this Phala Phala matter. No doubt, the likes of Bathabile Dlamini, whom the Electoral Committee of the ANC has removed from the running list, will have much to say about this matter.
Certainly, and I don't think she's the only one who's been disqualified. Very interesting that Bathabile said the fight is on when she posted that letter which disqualified her, and there'll be many who would feel that way. But the rules in the NC Constitution are quite clear. If you've been found guilty of an offence, if you're currently charged, you are disqualified according to the vetting process which is done through the Electoral Commission, which was mandated by this very NEC, by the
the last conference in 2017 to be set up, you are disqualified for running for any position, primarily because of the implications that would have on the image of the organization. So the Integrity Commission's mandate is quite clear, and there have been lots of calls since around 2016 to give and capacitate the Integrity Commission insofar as its powers, because its reports are currently not enforceable. It's at the discretion of the NEC to decide whether or not it implements the recommendations, but also to give it the legal capacity to deal with certain issues, such as the one regarding digital vibes. They had to have their own investigative capacity, as well as with the Phala Phala matter, because part of the reason why then the draft report had given an inconclusive finding was because they were still saying that they don't have an outcome from the Hawks, the Public Protector and the South African Reserve Bank, who are amongst those who are investigating what happened into the robbery at the President's farm in February 2020.
Ziyanda, Ngcobo, thank you very much for that update.